Good day to you. We have a little change of scenery today. I hope you don't mind, but anyway. Are you tired of always preparing the same dishes? Would you like to try something a little bit out of the box? Well, I might have the recipe just for you, with little effort and a big impact. Just have a look at it. Isn't it tempting? What is it, you may ask? Well, it's an endive and goat cheese tarte tatin. If you don't know what a tarte tatin is, it's actually a French traditional type of pie. Its specificity is that it's cooked upside down, then it's served side up after baking. Also, it's usually a sweet dish prepared with apples and caramel, but we are making a savory one today, which is definitely original and equally delicious. There will be a little bit of caramel going on into this recipe, but a less sweet one, of course, you'll see. And this one you just can't miss. I'm showing you all the steps from the pastry to the pie making, but if you want, you can skip the pastry and use store-bought one, but it will be less tasty. Pastry making is actually really simple and quick. You just have to prepare it the day before or at least 1 hour prior to the pie making, so that the gluten has some time to rest, but that's it. And as usual, you'll find the ingredients list and proportions in the American and European system down below in the description box. And while I'm at it, don't forget to subscribe not to miss the coming content on my channel and show me your support. So without any further ado, let's get to it. So let's start with the pastry making. You might want to skip to the next chapter of the video if you don't want to make it yourself or if you already have your own recipe. Just so you know, this one is particularly tasty and you won't go back to plain ones afterwards. You've been warned. So you can prepare it in a large bowl or like me, directly on your work plan. I find it easier as you have more space for kneading. And of course you could use a stand mixer with a leaf attachment as well. For the pastry, I'm going for a classic pastry type, but I will leave you the proportions I typically use according to the type of flours. Because you know, different types of flours suck up more or less liquid, so you have to adapt. You could go for a pastry made with only all-purpose flour, APP, but it's less tasty and the texture is less interesting, I find, and it's less wholesome even. So go ahead and drop your flour on a clean work plan. I went for 250 grams overall with a mix of T45, or T55, which is APP, and T110. So for the proportions, 150 grams of T45 and 100 grams of T110. So you know, I already added the salt in there so that it's well incorporated. Mix it thoroughly by hand and make a well. Pour the water inside. It has to be ice cold water so that it doesn't warm up the butter too much. Then add the diced butter. Cold butter here works well and helps the dough keep its shape while kneading, so no use for room temperature butter. At first, go slowly so that the water doesn't run everywhere, and it's better to work with your fingertips rather than your hands, again not to warm up the whole thing too much. Then start kneading until well combined and no pieces of butter are visible in the dough anymore. Don't over knead it though, or it will get sticky and it will actually shrink during baking. And when it's just combined, stop and wrap it in cling film. I like to make it quite flat so that it gets colder faster. Then all you have to do is to let it rest for at least an hour in the fridge. It's even better if you prepare it the day before, you know, just let the gluten do its work. So while it's resting in the fridge, it's time to take care of the endives or chicory. Start by cutting the hard base, then slice it into lengthwise, and again in two, so that you have 4 pieces out of 1 endive. When you are all done, slice the mushrooms, not too thick, as we won't cook them before putting them in the pie. Mushrooms are not necessary in the recipe, but I like having them as it adds one more layer of taste, a more earthy one, especially since I'm using pink button mushroom, or champignon de Paris rosé, as we call them in French, which have a more distinct taste than the regular ones. Set aside as we take care of the endives. Melt some butter in a large pan and arrange the endives in one layer. You may have to cook in several batches, as if you overcrowd it, it will indeed prevent a nice caramelization, and this is actually the tarte tatin secret, my friend, as it gives this a nice taste as well as removes the excess water from the endives. You'll have to turn carefully the endives with a tongue to have this appetizing color everywhere. Then I put the lid on with a slow fire for a couple of minutes while still turning them from time to time. Like this, it will cook thoroughly. Lastly, I remove the lid and let cook a bit more to get rid of the excess water. It takes overall 20-25 minutes for the endives to be fully cooked and soft and brown. It's now time to prepare the other ingredients while the endives cool down. Cut the chicken in small cubes around 1.5 cm and pan fry it. Set aside, then melt the butter in a bowl, add the sugar and mix. Pour the butter mixture in a round cake pan and make sure to coat the whole bottom with it. Now place the endives nicely in a rosette shape. It will give the whole look to the pie when you unmold it. It will look gorgeous. Then it's time to add the goat cheese, the torn mozzarella, and the mushrooms. Finish with the chicken pieces and top with grated cheese. You can use either Emmental or mozzarella. Here it's mozza. Season with your herbs. Here it's thyme, but you could use rosemary or oregano. For the spices, I use ground cumin, salt, and pepper. Last thing is to roll your dough in a large circle. I make it about 3 mm thick. Place it on top of the pie and tuck the corners inside nicely so that you have a nice outside crust when it's cooked. The good thing with this dough is that it's really easy to work with, so no worries about tearing it. Bake in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 390 Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Let cool for about 10 minutes in the pan before serving it. And enjoy! Time for some B-roll now. Doesn't it look delicious as well as high-end? It's so easy to make though. It takes a little bit of time as we pre-cook the endives so that they are soft and brown. And by the way, I don't advise you cook them in water beforehand instead, as the whole pie would be quite mushy, you know. Not the most appetizing or even tasty. It's better to take the time needed in cooking as it does develop all the various tastes and add interesting layers to the final dish, I find. Ones you just can't have by saving time. But it's your choice if you prefer the latter, of course. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as usual, let me know if you try this recipe. Don't forget to hit the like button as well as subscribing to my channel for more. Historical cocktail making as well as vintage hair are coming next, I suppose, so don't miss it. That's all for today, folks. So thank you so much for watching again and for your support. It does matter. And I'll see you in the next one then. Au revoir. Bye.